Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Cowboys in the NFL. Some teams with their OTAs, mandatory, whatever else. I get confused on them because of all the changes. But, Mickey, we just had Dale Hellistry, who was on the show. And, of course, he is funny and he's insightful and he's amazing. Do you have a favorite Dale Hellistry story? Just randomly just asking you that off the top of this segment.
I think I've got two of them real quick. The first day he got there, they had, I believe they had traded for him and John Giesick from the Raiders. And, Helly, that body he's got, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's the body of a deep snapper. And I was standing next to Nate Newton, and he comes walking through the curtain over there by where the equipment room is. And Nate looks up and he goes, "Oh my God, look at the guys we're bringing in here." And it wasn't like the body beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then I remember one day he had been so good snapping the ball. He was perfect, right? And so they did a deal out in the parking lot. Somebody said, "Okay, if I drive by the sidewalk here and you stay like 10 yards away, you think you can snap the ball like you're hiking it for a kick? Can you snap it through the window as the ball is moving?" And by God, hell, he did. It was way before. What's the group that does the funny things?
Oh, Dude Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. Kelly was ahead of his time. Yeah, but he was great, and he was a great interview and funny, and just didn't take himself seriously.
Mickey, what have you been able to glean from the way that Dan Quinn has started to move guys around and try to see? Is he trying to see what they can do, or is this what maybe he has planned? Is that guys are going to be at a bunch of different spots on the defense?
Yeah, I think it's really hard because they've interchanged so many guys in different spots. The only thing I can think of is he's going to have enough guys on the defensive line and at linebacker that they can play situational football. Or almost like a basketball game, they can match up with whoever they have to go up against. So between the linebackers, the five of them, including Keanu Neal, if they got to play a big nickel, a small nickel, if they got to play against two tight ends, I think they can match up by how they use the linebackers. You can have Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch out there. If you're going three, you could have Micah Parsons out there. And the way they've moved Micah Parsons around, they can put him on the line of scrimmage, use three if it's a passing down, or, if they're gambling, they could use three D linemen, line him up at defensive end. And he's had some pass rushes from the line of scrimmage like he's been shot out of a cannon. I mean, he is not only fast, not only strong, but he, on an interception, he can jump high too. I just think this is going to be a very versatile defense. But here's the thing, because last year I think they tried to do too much and the guys didn't get it. This year I saw communication going on the field. I saw even Micah Parsons helping people line up because they kind of worked him at all three different linebacker spots. So I think the teaching has been much better this year than it was last year. But again, let's remember, they didn't have OTAs last year. They didn't have a minicamp last year. And all the off-season meetings they had were virtual. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how well I learn on a Zoom call. But in person with somebody's on a whiteboard and diagramming things for me that I can see and not afraid to ask questions, I think the learning is much easier. So I think the fact that they've had this off-season stuff, even though they're putting in a new defense, I think it's gone much better so far.
Mickey, how is Amari Cooper coming along from that ankle injury?
Yeah, he had he had it cleaned out. So they feel like he'll be ready for training camp. They didn't ask him to do anything in the OTAs or the minicamp. And as kind of the saying goes, you're not going to win. You're not going to win in May, but you better have him ready for September 9th. And I think they're being very cautious with him to make sure he's ready to go probably when training camp starts too.
Mickey Spagnola with us, DallasCowboys.com on SicEm365 Radio. So, Mickey, they obviously added a lot with the draft when it comes to defense. I asked a couple of times, a couple of different people this week about irreplaceable. Obviously, Dak is one that leads the list. Give me your next one or two irreplaceable players on either side of the football.
Oh, boy. If you give me two on offense, well, actually, if you give me three, those three offensive linemen they missed last year, David, they were irreplaceable. And I don't see any evidence, and it's early, right, that if they lost those three guys again, that offensive line would be better than what it was last year. So somebody asked, I can't remember, it was either Dak or Mike McCarthy, the biggest difference on offense this year, if they've evolved more. And obviously Dak back helps. And his point was the health. Those three guys, and both of them have answered the question the same way. Having those three offensive linemen back and healthy is immeasurably improve this offense. And you know what? They weren't all that bad last year, having to, play Russian roulette with the quarterback position after Dak went out. But the one thing they couldn't compensate for was the loss of two starting tackles and then your all-pro starting right guard. It was just too much to overcome. So irreplaceable, yeah, those guys. I think defensively, I'm going to have a new one this year because usually I come up with somebody that's irreplaceable, try not to pick the same guy, try not to pick a quarterback. But I think a guy that can make a huge difference this year defensively is Randy Gregory. Wait till you guys see him. He always had trouble holding his weight. He'd end up 240, something like that, when he's been able to play. He's 260. He has not lost a step. As a matter of fact, I think he's gotten faster. He looks stronger. And if you have an opportunity, do yourself a favor, go to DallasCowboys.com and listen to his interview. I think it was two days ago. I mean, he is on point. He's ready to go. He sounds just speaking clearly, confidently. And guess what? This was his first full off season with the Dallas Cowboys since his rookie year in 2015. So, and if you remember, he started making an impression the end of last season, and he didn't play not only couldn't play in the first 6 games, he couldn't even practice with the team. He was just doing weight and conditioning work. He looks like an entirely different player. And as we know, other than Quinn, they've had trouble finding a defensive end that can provide a pass rusher on the right side. And I'll tell you what, he just might be that guy. And if he is, then to me, we know what DeMarcus Lawrence is, but give him somebody on the other side, and that'll improve DeMarcus Lawrence too.
Mickey, how much of it is that, obviously the suspensions are over, the NFL has changed the policy. He was always very engaging when you talk to Randy Gregory. I remember his rookie season thinking man, this is a really interesting, guy who has a lot of levels to him. How much is that is just relief and direction in his life now? Yeah.
Absolutely. And he spoke openly about it. It took 10 minutes before somebody asked him about his past. and he says, yeah, he goes, you guys can help me to, get rid of that past. And yeah, he sounds, he sounds like he loves himself now. And I don't mean to sound deep or anything, but he's at peace with himself. I think he's found happiness. He's found a way to control, his, and I really think he had a physical or mental problem with having to resort all the time to smoking marijuana. And I think he's learned about how to control himself. Just at peace with himself. And it was really cool listening to him, because he was being very genuine, talking to us and the things he said. But yeah, I suggest to your listeners to go listen to that interview. It's probably about 10, 15 minutes, something like that. And you'll be very surprised to hear what he has to say.
Mickey, thank you as always. We appreciate it. Every Thursday, 4:30, most every Thursday, Mickey Spagnola, Dallas Cowboys, with us.